What makes readers buy certain novels? Hello everyone, my name is Rahila, and today I have a special video where we'll be diving into the question of what makes certain books so special. What makes some books stand out? So let's face it, writing is a huge investment in time, research, and of course, your skills. Nobody wants to finish writing your book and then it suddenly just sits on the Amazon shelf. You want to make sure your book is strategic enough. Readers want to go for it. Now, apart from an engaging book cover, of course, everybody tells you your book cover must stand out because that's the first thing they see when they are passing by on the shelf. But even after they look at your book cover, they want to see what will promise them an experience and make them buy that book. What really drives sales? I will tell you two today. The first one is your hook and your cliffhanger, and the second one is the tropes that you use. You want to make sure your reader sees something that will immediately make them emotionally connected to either the protagonist or to the storyline and make them want to stay, not just stay, but flip to the next page and to the next and to the next until the very last page. Think about your favorite series. I really enjoyed The Blacklist and I enjoyed Prison Break. Now notice something, the beginning has a very strong hook and makes you want to keep watching. Somewhere in the middle it gets boring and you even begin to doze off. But did you notice the last 5 minutes before that episode ends? It hypes up and becomes very action-packed and the pace just rises again, and immediately you were planning to sleep after this episode and it's already 1 a.m. But because of how that particular episode ended, you clicked play next episode. That is exactly the kind of thing we're talking about. These days, writers must learn to write and give your reader the experience as though they are watching a movie. Every single scene must be strategically written, every action must be predetermined, and every banter must be strong enough to keep your reader connected emotionally to that story. There are several ways to hook your readers, and one of them is by bringing in the emotional aspect. How can I make my hook emotional enough, Rahila? Somebody is asking. Your hook must be exciting, it must be heart-wrenching, or it must be suspenseful. Anything that just appeals to the emotion of your reader is what you want to use as your hook. The last time I spoke with Emma, she sounded happy and excited about her dinner date. 2 days later, I got a call that Emma had disappeared without a trace. Now, an exciting and suspenseful hook will go like this. I never imagined I'd be standing by his grave. Worst of all, I didn't imagine I'd be the one who killed him. Now, when you see an opening of a story with any of these things, the immediate thing that comes to your mind is, I want to know more. I need to know more. You become emotionally invested immediately and you continue reading. That is the way to hook. Now let's move to tropes. We have popular tropes like enemies to lovers, second chance, found family, single dad, age gap. We have a lot of tropes, but there are some certain tropes that do so much better than others. Now, one of the secrets I will tell you up front is make sure that you mix as many tropes as possible. Why? Because the more tropes you have in your story, the more depth your story has. The worst thing you want to give your story is a story that is shallow, that is flat, that is linear. The more tropes you add to your story, the more scenes you have to create in order to unfold those tropes. So the deeper and more complex your story will be, therefore more interesting. So what are the most loved tropes in our favorite genres? In romance, we have the enemies to lovers, we have the small town, we have the billionaire, for example. We are coming into Q4 where the most number of books are sold, and this is your opportunity to also grab a piece of that. I will be having a special club where we will be discussing our Christmas season novels, and I want you to join me as my special guest. My number is in the description. Please send me a WhatsApp if you want to join this club and have your novel ready for this Q4 season. In the thriller and mystery genre, the most loved tropes are the detective with a dark past, race against time, and a twist end. What is a twist ending? Twist ending is when we have like maybe the voice of the unreliable narrator that keeps taking a different direction, but at the last minute you discover that what you thought was happening was actually not what has been happening. We are seeing this trope becoming more and more popular these days. There was a novel, Fracture, and a movie that Taraji Henson acted in which she was running around with her daughter. Only at the end of it, we discovered that her daughter had died and it had affected her mentally, and she had been running around all along by herself, and her daughter was not there. So that was not an expected ending, because we never imagined that she had been acting the entire movie by herself in a psychological imbalanced state. In the fantasy genre, we have the chosen one who must save the world, we have the reluctant hero, and we have forbidden magic. Now, once again, why I'm telling you all these genres and the favorite tropes is because this is the season for you to write your books. Remember, I had told you before in a previous video that you need to choose a genre you find interesting. It will help you to give your authentic voice when writing the novel. In science fiction, we have the alien invasion, we have dystopian societies, and we have time travel. These tropes work very well because they tap into universal emotions. Whether it's love, adventure, revenge, or self-discovery, readers keep returning to these tropes because they can connect with them and resonate deeply with them. Now, what happens when you combine an emotional hook with a strong trope? What you have is a novel that readers cannot. For example, in enemies to lovers trope, where the main female lead falls in love with the male lead, only to discover later that he was actually the enemy that had been trying to kill her. What does she do? So when you start with a strong emotional hook and fall back into the familiar proven tropes, what you do is give your readers a novel they can't resist.